Oh, they're so pretty. I didn't even know they were growing there. Hey buddy, come here. Come here. Hi. We'll go around. Go around. The pea plants are definitely coming up, but they seem to be getting a bit of bug pressure. But something I'm quite disappointed about, and I kind of don't understand what's going on, but these brassicas have been here for ages and they're mature, they're big. I don't know if it's broccolini, cabbage, or, well, I don't think it's cabbage, but I don't know if they're Brussels sprouts or broccolinis, but they're just not forming heads. There's nothing. What's going on? I know that I experimented with Brussels sprouts last time, and I told you guys that last year's Brussels sprouts I'm going to leave into the ground and see how they regrow, and they actually have little Brussels sprouts on them. Check it out. How good's that? Little baby ones there. You may notice some craters in my gardens. I decided, since nothing else is really growing and spring is coming, just to plant out all my peas. The more peas, the better. There can never be enough, I don't think. And so this way, all of my garden beds will get some peas in them. They'll gain some nutrition once I cut the peas back at the end of their life cycle. And I'll also not feel so antsy with empty garden beds. Should have done it sooner, really, but my peas have only just started to sprout now. Look, my first lavenders. Cute. Another experiment that I did recently is trying to transplant these lavender plants straight into the ground, and 1, 2, 3 took. So I was really experimenting quite a bit with my shrubby plants this winter season while I had the time. I attempted to propagate by putting it straight into the ground. As you just saw, 3 of them took, but this is another way that I tried to propagate, and this one could be even easier, and I'm pretty sure it worked. So let me show it to you a bit closer. So right here, I took one of the lower branches and I placed it down onto the ground, onto the soil with a rock on top. And the purpose of this is to try root it from the bottom here. So you can see that these ones growing up now are trying to create their own root system. So I might place it down lower. This looks like it still needs to go a bit longer, but it looks like it's doing what it needs to. So I'll be able to replant this once it's got its own root system, and that will be a brand new plant. Spring is less than a month away, and I'm getting so excited to start planting things. I know last year I planted a lot of things probably too early, so this year I have gone ahead and planted peas pretty much everywhere, in every single garden bed, so that they can live over the spring season, establish themselves, grow us some really delicious food, and then we can chop them down and they can return all of their nutrition back into the soil. But while I have gone ahead and done that for now to kind of slow me down before planting the summer crops, I have also gone ahead and planned out all of our spring garden beds. So this is going to be the second season in the big garden. It's also going to be, I think, almost the third season, especially for summer, in the original garden bed, so the smaller beds out the front of our house. So I'm really excited to plant some new things in them. I'm doing a crop rotation. Everywhere I have broccoli, I'm going to plant carrots. Everywhere I've had carrots, I'm going to plant peas. After peas come tomatoes and corn. After that comes potatoes, then cucumbers or squashes, and then back to the peas before you go into your corn and tomatoes again. So In a lot of my beds, I actually do have broccoli planted right now, which means I'm going to have carrots planted. But I'm hoping if I plant peas everywhere first, it's going to give the ground a chance to recover its nutrients, and then I'll be able to plant tomatoes and corn a little bit sooner in some of the beds. That's my hope anyways. But as you guys know, I love to also use companion plants in my gardens. Not one of my beds has only one plant exclusively. I like to kind of mix them together with plants that benefit one another or that can work together in some way. So the Three Sisters garden is the best example of this, because you have the corn stalks that become the trellises, you got the beans that surround the corn but also fix the nitrogen upon their demise, and then you've got the pumpkins or squashes which cover up the ground and prevent it from going dry or getting too hot or too cold, so those can be really beneficial too. Amongst all that, I also really like to plant root vegetables. Root vegetables can sometimes work like pea plants, where they pull up nutrients from down below the soil to feed themselves. So it's always beneficial to plant carrots and radishes somewhere in your garden bed, because they grow quickly and don't often take up too much room or too much nutrients from the other plants. So let me talk you through my hypothetical plan. This is the small garden. Currently here I have lettuce growing, I have a comfrey plant back here, I have those 3 trellises in the middle, or like the teepees, that are great for growing up. And in the middle, I have some chickpea plants growing, but everywhere else is pretty much bare. So the first season that I had this garden bed, I had the Three Sisters bed here, and I think I'm going to bring it back this season, especially since I've had lots of radishes, lots of chickpea plants and peas and beans growing here, so it should have lots of nutrition back in the soil. I also want to see if eggplants might grow at the front. They need a lot of sun, so I guess we'll just see. They didn't come up at all last year. Over here, I have my chili plants currently at the back, garlic already there, and then I have peas currently growing on the sides. This bed might go to rest when it's done this year, or maybe I'll see if I can plant some more tomatoes there. Potatoes and broccoli in the middle here. Not sure if the broccoli will grow, but we might as well try. Lettuce, and this is my perennial bed, so I'll be adding some more herbs to it, but keeping this one nice and simple at the front. Mostly just things that we're going to use in salads and things we need in the house every day. Now the big garden, this is going to be her second season, so there could be things that grow really well or things that might not. But let's start at the front. Right now, you guys know I have peas planted at the front here that are only just coming up. Once they're done, I'll cut them back and add some tomatoes, carrots, and basil here. Back here, you guys know I had the tomatoes planted here last springtime. So I've had lettuce and broccoli planted this season over winter time. So I'll be giving this bed somewhat of a rest with potatoes and kohlrabi. We'll see if they grow. Watermelon here. Currently I have a bunch of garlic growing along this side. This is where I used to have potatoes in winter. So after the garlic, I'll add some peas to bring some nutrients back into the soil, and then hopefully some tomatoes and lettuce, depending on which one grows better, because there might not be enough nutrition for the tomatoes. Another bed of garlic, can't wait to harvest it, and when it's finished, some cucumber and radishes will go in there next. Radishes are going to be a good soil fixer, similar to peas. Whether I harvest them or not, we'll see, or I might just chop them back and add them back for nutrition. Back here, corn and beans, so I want to do the Three Sisters there. Cabbage off to where the pumpkins used to grow on the compost pile, and then a pumpkin bed dedicated to the back here. I really enjoyed that my pumpkins sprawled to all the other beds last time, so I'm going to do a similar concept where my pumpkins go both this way, that way, and maybe out onto the pastures. Some more Three Sister beds here without the pumpkins, so that they're not taking nutrition away from the soil. They'll just come out from this garden bed. Right now I have my broccoli plants here. As you guys saw, they're not growing any heads, which is frustrating, but once they're done, some carrots and eggplants in there. Another tomato, carrot and basil bed. I really want to grow enough tomato to be able to can this year and have a significant amount. And then the last bed, I want to plant some zucchini and some more radishes to fix the soil. So yeah, that is the plan. Of course, you guys know that around our property we also have different fruit trees, orchards and food forests. I do this because down the bottom we've got our native food forest. We're getting established. We'll be adding some more ground covers to that this year, most likely during the summer school holidays. It's been a really busy school period, so we'll just see how that goes. But up at the top of our property we're going to plant some more varieties of shrubs, so bushberries. I have some strawberry, guava and our fruit trees up there, so hopefully we can expand that. Add some more sweet potato vines, maybe strawberries, some more ground covers, and really get that permaculture food forest ignited this spring and summer season. There's also the fruit trees behind me, so the lemon, the olive tree, the fig trees, and the feijoa tree. I'm expecting that because the olive tree didn't fruit last season, it's going to this year, so fingers crossed. And same with the figs. They didn't have a successful season last year. So hopefully this is going to be their season to come back. So I think the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of my spring seeds, sort them out so that I've got all of the ones I can start planting in August, which is right now, and all of the ones I'll have to be a bit more patient for and plant next month as soon as spring comes. So I've sorted through all my seeds and I've placed aside the ones that I can start planting right away now in August time. So I'll go through the different varieties. I've put aside all the pumpkins. I'm going to put one in, and then as soon as it starts taking off, or as soon as I notice pumpkins coming up in my compost piles, I'm going to plant those into the ground. I've got some cucumbers left over. Loofah plants, now is the time to plant them in springtime. More cucumbers. Again, I'm going to put one into the ground, and as soon as it comes up, I'll start to plant the rest. Tomatoes, as soon as I start seeing volunteers, I'll put in the tomato, Brandywise, the black cherry. Watermelon, I think needs a really long growing season, so I'll put that in right away as well. Cabbage before it gets too hot. I've got some more radishes before it gets too hot. Herbs, I'm pretty sure my herbs started to bolt once it got too hot in summer. So the earlier I plant them in spring, I think the better they'll do. Lettuce as well before it starts bolting in summer is a good one to plant now. And then I've got a few different varieties of eggplant and tomato that can actually be grown from August. So there's the Roma tomatoes, the Apollo tomato, and I've got a Lebanese bunching eggplant. So I'll be sowing these ones pretty early on in my garden beds and hoping that they're going to take pretty soon. Baby! Oh, he scares me so much.
So weather. You're standing right next to the water.
I know. Usually I can call Eris over,